Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. This is basically Nissan's Land Cruiser. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Nissan here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this PRO-4X. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Paul. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town, 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 425 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Taking a look at the hood, you guys can see how it's kind of raised there on either side, and then the new style of headlights for the Armada is pretty cool looking. And then of course you got the nostril grille just like other PRO-4Xs. You can see the orange Nissan logo down below. Fog lights there at the bottom, and then notice how we've got some underbody protection, recovery points, but also a more aggressive front end approach angle, which is pretty cool. There's the front end. Tire wheel setup is 275 by 60 by 20, and you can see the wheels are completely blacked out. And not the most aggressive all-terrain tires, but it does have all-terrain tires. Got these big chunky fender flares. You can see the cool venting there on the side. Fixed side steps with this. You've got the blacked out mirror cap, blacked out roof, which on the PRO-4X looks really cool. Got that kind of like Range Rover type look. Now this leads us to the key fob where we've got our lock and unlock function. We got the opening for the rear hatch, remote start function as well. And popping into the rear, you guys can see first off, you can raise and lower the back end, so it makes accessing a little bit easier. You can fold down the seats. You can also raise up the third row, which is pretty nifty. We've got an outlet here in the back, and if you're wondering, space is kind of similar to like a Chevy Tahoe in terms of the rear space. A little bit smaller, but not too much. And then when you're all done, just press that button up top, and that will lower the hatch right back down. Cool taillights here. Little turn signal indicator, you can see with the light bar design there, again the orange Nissan logo. And the back end of this, again, very boxy. Now this leads us into the passenger cabin. So you've got kind of more of a rugged design in here, like the trim, for example. And then you can see PRO-4X there. Really cool with the stitching and everything all down the center of the seat. And then, by the way, you just pull that, throws down the seats. With the third row, you can fit adults back there. It doesn't have the fancy stitching, sadly, but it is still a very spacious area overall, and legroom back there is pretty good. It looks like the floor does raise up to the rear though. Now taking a look at the legroom here in the back, solid. We've got a little storage pocket, and then you can see we've got these controls. We've got our own climate zone back here. We also have some USB ports and everything. Got this little center seat, some cup holders there. And then headroom is good with the boxy design. This leads us up front where, again, we've got the cool stitching. You can see all of our window controls. Notice the mirrors do power fold in. We've got your memory seat functionality. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. For those of you wondering on payload capacity, 1444. PRO-4X there on the seat. Nice stitching and everything down the center. All of your adjustments there on the side. Got your parking brake and auto hold here. That's for your lane centering. Open up the hatch. Got a nice trim on the dash. Steering wheel, by the way, power adjustable. Taking a look at the steering wheel, Nissan logo front and center. You got paddle shifters there on the back. Bunch of practical controls here on the front, including for like our cruise control, your volume controls. You got some controls for the center, and then traditional stocks behind the steering wheel. Digital gauge cluster here in the center, and like I said, you can scroll through and change what this displays information-wise. It's pretty customizable, just like a lot of other modern SUVs. 360 camera system in reverse, really good resolution. Trajectory lines turn with the steering wheel. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, it is connected in one unit with the whole gauge cluster there, as you can see. But it is a touchscreen. It's quick to respond. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. It does have some functions built into it, like the seats, for example, are a good one where you can turn on the heated and cooled seat function, all of that. But yeah, I mean, I think they made it user-friendly. But don't worry, they still give you tons of physical controls. So for the infotainment system there, camera and all of that, your heated and cooled seats. And then your drive mode select, you got this little dial to go through the different drive modes. And it has lots of modes for both on-road and off-road use. So like the little depictions. And then notice full-time four-wheel drive, you also have high and low. You also have a rear locking differential. And then you got stability control. This right here makes this significantly better. The fact that it's selectable compared to like a Yukon or a Tahoe with the AT4/Z71 package. Transmission select, and then that's for your height adjustable suspension, and then you can see the auto stop start. Tons of storage in this area with their wireless phone charging pad, bunch of USB ports, got cup holders, little cover here, and big center console. Nice trim here on the top. By the way, I think they did a good job with that. You can see the trim that goes across the dash too. I like that little trim down below. Camera rear view mirror, and then you got kind of like a softer-ish headliner, panoramic sunroof. So here's our window sticker for this Pro-4X. You can see $81,755 is the total MSRP. And with that being said, let's see how it performs. Bada bing, bada boom. Well, before we set off on the road, gotta do a little housekeeping item here. I'm reviewing another car, so bear with me. I gotta just make sure this is the right one that's here. And I will say, these Salt Lake parking lots are not necessarily the most friendly to Nissan Armada. It's such a big vehicle. It looks like it's similar in size to like the previous gen Tahoe. The new Tahoes and Suburbans are massive. Which is great if you like space, not so great if you like... Is that it? No. Oh. Maybe it's this one over here. Ah, yep, it is. We found our guy. Okay, well, that's all I needed to know. I just need to know where this thing was... Let's lock it so it's not a... There we go. I just need to know where this thing was parked, is all. So, I really like this new Armada Pro-4X because this is more competition to Toyota Sequoia, TRD Pro, you know, Tahoe and Yukon AT4, Z71, all of that. But also, how they've set this up kind of makes it seem like because of the size of it, it's not small, but it's also not insanely long. It's kind of like Nissan's Land Cruiser in a way. It's really cool, I think, at least. I will say seats are amazingly comfortable. Suspension's comfortable too. Again, you got independent suspension all around and air suspension, which means that it's just going to be more comfortable in general. Great torque. I do like this new turbo V6. It's a smooth powertrain. Something else that I really like about the new Armada is actually the hood design. It's pretty easy to see over it and to the end, which it's kind of hard with the Chevy, or I'll just say the GM twins. The Sequoia is not too bad. But one thing this definitely has over the Sequoia is third row. This third row is raised a bit, but it's not as bad as the Sequoia because the Sequoia has a battery back there and a solid rear axle. So that makes a pretty big difference. And visibility all throughout is great. Again, the boxy design really helps out with that. It's a nice ride. I could see this being pretty comfortable off-road too with the suspension it has. Again, you wouldn't want to take this super fast. It's not the type of off-roader this is. But, you know, going slow and just kind of cruising, it would be pretty comfortable. And I'm wondering, I bet you could fit 18-inch wheels. I didn't look at the rotors, but I bet you could fit 18s on this, and you put 18s and some beefy all-terrain tires on this, and it'd be quite the capable rig. Again, rear locking differential, and you've got the 2-speed transfer case. Those two things, if you have a 2-speed transfer case and a rear locking differential, will get you like 90% of the places you want to go off-road. Helps substantially. See how this does over the train tracks. Very interested to see this. Yeah, suspension's nice. So I don't really see a downside with this compared to the regular, that's funny. I don't see a downside with this compared to the regular Armada. It seems like with the Pro-4X, you just get more off-road capability, cool kind of like rugged interior, and it drives just as well as like a Platinum, right? It's just as comfortable. And it's got like the upgraded sound system and all that stuff from the Platinum. Really good sound system, by the way. So you basically get all the luxury, and then you also get the off-road capability. And the looks too, right? The looks, a lot of people appreciate that. So I would say that even though this doesn't have a solid rear axle, this really is kind of like Nissan's Land Cruiser. This is the type of vehicle that you get, if you obviously if you just want the looks, but also if you're gonna take a lot of people around and you just want to do some off-roading, off-road adventures that aren't gonna be like Moab, right? I mean, you could take this to Moab, but when I say Moab, I'm talking about like Hell's Revenge type stuff. That's not what this vehicle is gonna be about. Ultimately, it's gonna be more so of like the the normal trails, just kind of exploring things a little bit. So let me know what you guys think about the Armada Pro-4X, but I think this is really impressive. And if you're looking at Sequoia TRD Pro, if you're looking at GMC Yukon AT4, Chevy Tahoe Z71, I would at least give this a try, at least give this a look. I think that it will surprise you just how capable this is, what this offers and everything, and you might end up in a Nissan.